Good morning, animal. My name is Liam Conway. I am. Oh, I am running incorrect information. Love that. We're not actually doing Hunter today, and whilst I get my stuff sorted, we are doing Werewolf the Forsaken. Uh, yes, hello, kitten. We are coming to you. What I say, we. My cat and I are coming to you from Palawa Land, up here in the north of Australia, north of Tasmania. Just go there and we'll organise my stuff, which I'm very sorry to be doing right now. I should have done this much earlier. One up. There we go. Let's kill that. Okay, here we go. Today is going to be a lore video, lore stream about the lore of Werewolf the Forsaken. Um, from my perspective, coming from a uh, slightly different perspective here in Australia, whilst also looking at just what the book says and retelling the story as should be done around campfire. Um, the pre-record pre-stream roll was a bit incorrect because I have been slack. My apologies. We are there is, I believe it's Sorcerer Lodi on after us. No, it's Mage the Ascension Neon Gore at 8 p.m. So if you're hanging around for that, you'll see that. You can also kick out the Onyx Path. Check out the Onyx Path Kickstarter for any information related to stuff that's happening there. Um, yeah, check out onyxpath.com, the Monday meeting notes, and if you have Changeling the Lost as your backed um, as a Kickstarter backer, we finally have Kith and Kin, and beautiful book, lots of great stuff in there. Um, However, we're not here to talk about Kith and Kin and Changeling the Lost. We're here to talk about Werewolf the Forsaken and its story. So, let's begin with something simple. Kahakal Nichina, Kahausvara Maarath Amaharan Iduth. This story is true. The story of Father Wolf and Mother Luna. In the times before, these ancient times, when there was no gauntlet and the border marches stretched across the world, there was Father Wolf. The father hunted in those places. He kept the worlds in check, making sure spirits stayed where they should be, where the essence flowed, and made sure humans should stay where they should be, where matter was, where hard truths could be found. Ufara was good. No, that's not right. Ufara was not good. Ufara was the hunter, the best hunter, the only hunter. Ufara hunted the Spinner Hag and the Plague King, and so many more great and terrible creatures in that time before. So great was Ufara's howl that he even reached the moon, hanging across the surface of the world. Idith, the moon, Luna, whatever you want to call her, has never exactly been what one might call sane. At the best of times, she was. Well, she was. Each of her 5 faces reflected something. Rahu for destruction, Chachalim for the madness and the storytelling of glory. Half Moon, Elohim for, well, for judgment upon the earth. Crescent, Ithalim for understanding of magic, of power, of bonds and bands and banes, and Irakalim for when she hides her face from all of us and will not see us. But one day she heard. She heard this howl and saw the power of Father Wolf, and elected to take him as a mate. Now, of course, she could not ensure anything of Father Wolf. He was a hunter after all, and she was the mad Queen of Heaven. So she came down to earth, walked on the land, mated with Father Wolf, and together they birthed into the world the first Uratha, the first werewolves. This is how it was for a long time, Ulfara and Idith together. But then things changed. Something happened to Ulfara. He became slow and weak, soft, unable to follow through with all of his former power. He became, well, lax. He became a threat. And so the Forsaken, well, they weren't yet. The, the Uratha gathered together and they came up with a plan so blasphemous, so arrogant that many didn't even join them. Instead, what they chose to do was kill Urfara. We don't know much of that sacred hunt, the bringing down of Urfara and the destruction that was wrought upon the world as he died weaving into existence the gauntlet, the barrier between realities, the border marches gone forever. Urfara was dead, killed at the teeth of some of his young. And the moon, Idith, how she wept for her mate, for her love. How she wept and how she cursed all of the Uratha. She cursed them all with the madness that was within her, with the pain that would be associated with her metal, with silver. She cursed them. She was absent. Of course she cursed them. And so when the first Forsaken came to her, they begged her, they cried out to her, Edith, do not forsake us. Do not leave us alone. Do not take your blessings from us. But she had cursed them. What could she do? All she could offer Them and all that would follow would be the powers of Luna and the elements that would come to the Forsaken that became known as their auspices. She blessed all werewolves with auspices, with moon gifts, things that are beyond even the shadow on the earth side. Kaha kal nachina. This story is true. Kaha us ufara ma'arath amrahan iduth uratha. A story of Father Wolf and Mother Luna. That is the mythic history of werewolves. The mythic story of the Uratha. They are not just werewolves, as you may see in popular fiction. They are not servants of vampires. They are not uh, rebels against vampires. The Forsaken are the hunters and the protectors of everything that Father Wolf once had. They are the protectors of the spirits, as well as their hunters. They are protectors of humans as well as their hunters. Everything about the Forsaken and Werewolf the Forsaken revolves around living in two worlds, human and spirit. Now, for those in chat, if you're not familiar with spirits, I want you to imagine Princess Mononoke and the kami there, the wolf spirits, the great spirit, all of this sort of stuff. Imagine that situation. Now, increase the predatory nature of it. Spirits are not nice. They are not moral. They have no sense of morality. Spirits are the personification of the things that they are. A spirit of a mountain is resilient. It holds firm. It is only worn down by the water that is splashed upon it. Spirits of fire burn and consume. They eat and give birth to more and more spirits of flame. Spirits of animals mate and rut and fight and die as they should. The spirit world, or the Hisil, the shadow, is a place where pure sympathy exists. If you're familiar with Western styles of magic or even Vodun, you'll be familiar with sympathy. Sympathy is the relationship something has to another thing. In the case of spirits, their purity is their sympathy to something. So if there is a particular flock of birds in an area that is noticed and regularly thought about, that produces resonance. Resonance passes through the gauntlet and produces essence. Essence is what is and makes up spirits, and what spirits consume. It is everything to them, just like matter is everything to us. In the Hissel, this cup of coffee, which is from sweet wheat out here, is not a cup of coffee. It is a cup, a spirit cup. It is a spirit plastic lid, and it is a spirit of the coffee, which is currently nourishing my soul. That sort of stuff, that sort of spirituality is really important for Werewolf the Forsaken. It takes an animist view of reality, and if that's dropped, you lose a lot, and that lot is really described in particular through these things: the tribes, and each one we're going to go into. You have here the Blood Talons, Bone Shadows, Hunters in Darkness, Iron Masters, Storm Lords, and Ghost Wolves. Now, stepping back a little bit from Forsaken to its primary inspiration, which is Werewolf the Apocalypse, each of these tribes is kind of a combination of two or more of the tribes in Apocalypse. Excuse me, my lungs are in revolt. Um, Blood Talons are much like the Red Talons and the um, what are they called? The all-female tribe and the Fianna. These are, well, maybe less so the Fianna, but pretty close. These are powerful fighters. These are, the Get of Fenris. That's what I'm thinking of. These are heavily inspired by that sort of mentality that werewolves should be warriors. The Bone Shadows take on much more of an occultist vibe. I'm trying to remember any particular tribes that match up with them, but things like the Silent Striders are heavy inspirations for them. The Miana or the Menina or the Hunters in Darkness are heavily inspired um, the the Fianna from Apocalypse, as well as the Red Talons. They are very obsessed with purity and focus. Their philosophy takes on a sensation of purity, rather than them being absolute war machines. For the Iron Masters, they are heavily inspired by the Ghost Wolves and the what are they called? They've got Cockroach as the Talon. Bone Gnawers. They are fantastic. They are best boys. And the Stormlords are heavily inspired by the Shadow Lords and the Silver Fangs, with their philosophy focused on challenge and rising to the challenge. This one here is the Ghost Wolves. They are a tribe of convenience, less a tribe of reality. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about their history. Starting with the Blood Talons. Sutha Azuth. They have a tribal ban. All of these tribes have a ban, something that the spirit of the tribe puts upon those that follow it, a regulation that they must abide by. For the Blood Talons it is Nusum Gumur Nusud Grid. Offer no surrender you would not accept. The firstborn, the totem of the Blood Talons, is Fenris the Destroyer Wolf. Destroyer Wolf is neither the eldest nor the wisest of Father Wolf's children, but when the hunt is up, the Destroyer leads the hunt and brings it to its end. It's said that Fenris had a sister once, a twin known as Danu the Creator Wolf, who calmed her brother's rages. But when Father Wolf was killed, this harmony was shredded. The Destroyer now rages without end, and the Creator gibbers rapidly and spreads madness everywhere. But after the sundering, when the Forsaken were hunted by flesh and spirit and by wolf, a leader stood up, Redclaw, and they sought out Fenris-Ur. He came to the Firstborn with tooth and claw and pride, and the Destroyer demanded Redclaw's supplication, and to bare his throat towards the Destroyer. Redclaw refused, and they fought for days and days, and Redclaw would not relent, breaking, at last, under the Firstborn, blood pouring out across their bodies. Really, kitten? My stream partner, everybody. Fenris offered her life if Redclaw would yield to him, and always Redclaw refused, and this stubborn creature's sacrifice bound the Destroyer to his Uratha, and giving them their oath, offered no surrender you would not accept. This also gave the children of Destroyer Wolf their prey. They would hunt the most glorious, and those filled with rage, those who had lost their way and placed themselves into the power of spirits or dark cults and powers. They hunt werewolves. They hunt Uratha. This is a tribe of, whilst maybe not penultimate warriors, they are the tribe of warriors, bound by a simple philosophy, Thu Ibru, which means all war. Blood Talons are fantastic. They are brutal, they are amazing to play, and if you want a good, simple fighter to start with, always go for the Blood Talons. They are the fighter class, if you like. But let's take a step out from war and pain and take a look at the Bone Shadows, Hifartha Hisu. Their tribal ban is Suasahitsa. Pay each spirit in kind. Their firstborn, Kamatwis-Ur, the Death Wolf, is the seeker of all things, the plumber of depths. Death Wolf seeks all manner of beautiful and secret knowledge. Before the fall, Kamatwis-Ur was Kik-Ur, the seeking wolf that hunted for more knowledge. One day she delved deep into the earth, and whilst there, she died. More than a little alarmed by this, she came rushing out, shocked by the encounter, and there she learnt wisdom. But when the gauntlet fell, and the Forsaken were being hunted by everything, Kamdwis was their hunt, their desperate hope. They ran into the secret places of the Hisil, of dreams, of everywhere the Death Wolf may be. And they found her, and begged for her aid, but Death Wolf had learnt a secret, had learnt balance, and stated that each person would have to honour their debts. The prey of Kamdwisa are spirits. Their existence that comes from essence the creatures of the Hissel. Those who pollute the shadow with poisonous loci, the fires that burn through the gauntlet itself. Bone shadows hunt spirit's body and mind. But this hunt is not to destroy as the Blood Talons would have. Oh my kitten, really? This is to bind the ephemeral into fetishes, or to make totems, or to gather allies. In many ways, the hunt of the Bone Shadows is to build up rather than to tear down. They are fantastic. If you want the mage feeling in Werewolf the Forsaken, go for the Bone Shadows. They are occultists, magicians, old shamans, druids, all manner of things. The Bone Shadows are among probably my favourite of all of the um, tribes. Which, you know, oof, au revoir. Is not to say that I don't love the Menina, the Hunters in Darkness, with their tribal vow of let no sacred place in your territory be violated. Nus Numus Halhala. These are the firstborn of Death Wolf. Oh, sorry, of Black Wolf, or the Silent Mother, or Mother Wolf. She is the most withdrawn of the father's children, and she's a trapper, a harrier, not a killer. She's one that drives the prey towards the killing ground to ensure that, well, at least there won't be too much mess. In the before time, the father fought the Spinner Hag and Plague King, his jaws always clasping towards the throat and missing, entering empty space. As they disappeared into rat and spider and locust and crow, Father Wolf could not kill them all, and his rage was so great that Black Wolf, wise Black Wolf, noble Black Wolf, came and spoke of the sacred places that Shatha may hide, the secret things in the earth and in the sky. She taught Father Wolf to harry, to drive them into traps and empty places where other elements could do the hard work, be it fire or ice. The eldest, clever Black Wolf, saw her father grow weak. Now, when the werewolves were scattered by the destruction of Father Wolf, and the land became bloated with rats and spiders and crows and locusts and lampreys and all manner of grotesquerie, the world became unclean, and the new gauntlets pockmarked and sick, until a young hunter howled a prayer to Hikaon She showed the young hunter the tricks that his father had learnt. She gave them their oath. The Menina hunt Shatha, or the hosts, shards of ancient spirit gods that exist as evils and reminders of the ultimate failure of Father Wolf. He could not kill them. The impurity of these creatures upon the land burns the Uratha, and as elusive spider demons can mean destruction for a city, they are forced to hunt and defeat them. The Menina are a wonderful, wonderful rogue or cleric styled class or tribe. They are in many ways very sacred. They are in many ways probably one of the more spiritual and one of the more connected to the land groups in Forsaken. This is in no small part due to the fact that because they are hunting things like Bushelu, the rat hosts, or Aslu, the spider hosts, they are required to know their territory, to know their land, to plan for locations where they can launch ambushes or drive rats into traps. Um, yeah, they're fantastic. I really enjoy them. Another territory-bound tribe is the Iron Masters, the Fasil Luhal. Their tribal vow is Kul Kisura Udmida. Honor your territory in all things. Their firstborn is Sagrim the Red Wolf, the youngest of Father Wolf's children, and who is less of a discoverer of secrets, like Kamdwis and more of an unveiler of the new and the terrifying. In the time before, Sangrim was out hunting, and she came across a creature of wood and stone and sharp points. Ready to kill this spirit, Sagrim lunged, thinking it was a Magath, a warped two-spirit, two-resonance thing. But it was Sagrim was caught off guard by its request for peace. Its request to stay alive. And it wished to show Red Wolf where it came from. And so it took Red Wolf to a camp where there were boxes made of wood with fire inside them, where there were rocks that flew through the sky, and on the wall of this cave, animals came to life. Sagrim became delighted in humanity's cleverness. Arguably, Sagrim is the one that loves humanity the most. And so when the gauntlet fell, Sagrim rejoiced. So much was the cleverness of everything that she saw, and this wonderful newness, creativity would come from this, surely. Then the half-breed child of Father Wolf howled, and Sagrim came to the mourning wolf and asked why they wept. I mourn because my family and all the families of men I dwelt among are dead, said the Uratha. The spirits of the sky have choked them, the spirits of the water have drowned them, and the spirits of spears have pierced them. And Sagrim understood the horror that comes with change. Because of this, Iron Masters hunt the most dangerous prey. Humans. The clever, weapon-building prey of Father Wolf. Now, whilst one human may mean nothing in comparison to the might of an Uratha, one human armed with silver, or a dozen humans with shotguns, or even one human with a rezoning application can murder and devastate a pack with ease. Humans are the cleverest prey. Ironmasters bring about this very technocratic view of the world into what can feel like a very tribal game. On one hand, you can have the very conservative Hunters in Darkness, or you could have the very progressive Ironmasters. And probably the most interesting thing about them is the fact that they are still focused on their territory. The Ironmasters are investing, improving, developing plans, and making sure that their world, their hunting ground, is stable enough that they can unleash all hell upon those that would do them harm. This is different to the Iminir, the Stormlords. The Stormlords have a saying, allow no one to tend or witness your weakness. Nusigud Namtar. Their firstborn is Skolos the Winter Wolf, the firstborn who joined the Forsaken, the first one who recognized that these little creatures needed to live up to Father Wolf. And so I'm actually just going to read this little story in the book. This story is true. The time before the world was forever green and sunny, and the bounty of the hunt was without end. Father Wolf and his children hunted then for sustenance, to keep up the marches and for the sheer joy of it. Then Skolis was born. As his mother laboured, the world grew cold, and the firstborn marvelled to see their breath escaping like a steaming cloud. When the pup opened his eyes, snow began to fall in great flurries. At his birthing howl, a great wind tore through the world, and the flesh and spirit alike knew the bite of winter. This cold will destroy the world, said Fenris. It is the chill of death, said Camduisa. The prey will leave a trail even a child could follow, said Hiakon. The prey will adapt, said Sagrim. And Father Wolf looked upon his child and was pleased. After the murder of Father Wolf and the Forsaken scattered, the monsters in the woodwork grew more powerful. One in particular hunted Uratha. It was faster than them, stronger, better, and only one hunter stood against it. After a great battle on a high mountain, the monster finally lay dead. And Skolis having heard the battle in their den, came to watch. Alone, and refusing the help, the hunter died, exposed to the elements, slowly dragging the body down the mountain. And Skolis like Destroyer Wolf would eventually, honoured their sacrifice and bound itself to the Forsaken. The Stormlords hunt probably one of the most difficult prey to write about, which is the spirit ridden. They are spirits that have crossed over into Twilight to steal flesh and bone and metal. They are a great dishonour to Father Wolf's children, and almost a mockery of them. As they lay waste to the world around them, the ridden are sinister. They are spiritual desires with a human intelligence behind them, if they are one of the claimed. Or they are incredibly powerful monsters of wood and bone or animal flesh. This is what the firstborn hunt. Something with the drive to accomplish what... the Stormlords hunt. Something with the drive to accomplish a terrible, terrible thing. There is one more tribe. One more tribe heavily associated with the Forsaken. And it's the Ghost Wolves. The Ghost Wolves are... well, they're basically every wolf that hasn't joined a Forsaken tribe or a pure tribe. They aren't necessarily rejects. They just aren't wanted. They aren't needed. They aren't enjoyed by the other Forsaken. They are the lone wolves, for the most part. Maybe there's a lodge for them to gather around, maybe a protectorate or a pack, but they do not hold tightly to the firstborn and the protections offered there. They are on their own. They are ghosts. Or they soon will be, at least. The nature of werewolf is summed up in a very simple way continuously through the book, which is a wolf must hunt. A wolf has prey. A wolf has a focus. A wolf must hunt. Now, this isn't always the most simple. Like I said, the werewolves are really bound to under werewolves are really bound not by a desire. There's no cognitive follow through for them. They are instinctual. They are instinct manifest. You're not look. You're in fact Underworld is a really good style for has a really good style for this. It shows the werewolves as instinctive fighters, just going after things and really fighting against that instinctive nature. Now, one of the important things with Forsaken is acknowledging that and working with that. They are werewolves are fantastic. They are combat ready. They are capable of taking everything down. And much like a someone who's done fighting for a long time, whether it be martial arts or actual military combat, you get twitchy. You feel the energy behind your eyes, the need to unleash violence. For werewolves, that is transferred into a spiritual need. And that hunt doesn't need to be hunting something to death. It can be a hunt for information. It can be a stage in a plan. It can be the hunt for a totem or a fetish, an ally. Or it can be a hunt for some of the most dangerous prey. The pure. The Forsaken are one side of a coin. They are the werewolves that have aligned themselves with um, with the moon. The pure have not. They see the Forsaken, the Urdaga, as they call them, as slaves. The pure are the Anshiga rather, in First Tongue. And there are three tribes: Fire Touched, Iron Claws, and Predator Kings. Each one has their own wolf, their own firstborn. The Fire Touched follow Rabid Wolf and follow the tenet of Qab Ald Nungulu. Let no falsehood lay unchallenged. The Silver Wolf, who benefits the Ivory Claws, claim Nurhima Ziresh, which is uphold purity, maintain the purity of who you are. Then there are the Predator Kings, who follow Dire Wolf, the cousin, the follower of Destroyer Wolf, and they claim this edict: Seher no lahu thim, honor nothing of human craft. The Anshenga are terrifying. They are most clearly, they are the enemies and the principal enemies of Forsaken. And that is something that first edition really played into. Second edition, not so much. The pure are motivated by an ideology. And like anyone who had, like all of us who have ideologies, there are points of compromise that we can come to. Or there aren't. And that's what the pure represent. The other big werewolf threat is probably the most out and out blasphemous, the Bale Hound. The Asargadar. The Asargadar, the Bale Hounds, are those who follow corrupt and evil spirit, like legitimately evil spirits. Werewolf goes out of its way to make sure that morality is not a potent thing within the system. The morality comes from the balance between your need to hunt and your connection to humanity and your connection to the spirit world. There needs to be that balance. Bale Hounds, on the other hand, flaunt that balance. They destroy it. This piece of art, I think, zoom out, captures some of that. There is a corruption that follows them. There is an evil that is with them. And Bale Hounds represent that. It's said that they follow Viruk, the eyes of the Maelgin or soulless wolf, who comes to eat at their hearts. What are the Maelgin? Well, the Maelgin are representations of fallen renown and fallen things that werewolves honor. Excessive consumption. Something like a slasher or a cannibal. Pure destruction. They are the things that take glory and bastardize it. The glory of combat is instead turned to the hollow victory of death rage. Disharmony and violation of the shadow, and spiritual ecosystems violating wisdom. Exposure and putting two worlds that are at loggerheads against each other and watching them fail. They use honor and codes as weaknesses and will leave everything out to dry. Or invasion. And these are twisted masters of cunning. You're looking at saboteurs and specialists in destruction. Particularly psychological warfare. Werewolf the Forsaken is a game about the hunt. The enemies you come against are often also on the hunt. Bale Hounds are hunting for something particular, something to corrupt and destroy, to throw out a balance. The pure are looking for something to hunt, whether it be the destruction of a small town by the predator kings, the destruction of the pack, and the conversion of the pack by the fire touched, or the complete obliteration of tainted wolf-blooded in a population by the ivory claws. Werewolf is all about the hunt, about achieving a goal in whatever way you can. That is what is meant by a wolf must hunt. A wolf must have a purpose. A wolf must have a goal. A wolf must be working towards that. A wolf must hunt. This is different from Mage's obsessions, where although you may be obsessed with something, you don't um, follow it exclusively. For a wolf, they become single-minded, focused, and dedicated to the hunt, to what they are trying to accomplish, whatever that may be. Can there be flexibility within that? Absolutely, like any other form of goal setting. But fundamentally, Werewolf, the Uratha, must hunt. Over the next little bit, the next 4 or so weeks or sessions that we do this, we're going to look at Werewolf, and we're going to start slotting it into our setting document, this setting in Tasmania that we've already plotted in human and deviant elements, deviant the renegade elements, that will come up against these werewolves. Importantly, we will have a discussion on spirits in the Chronicles of Darkness and what it means to actually build a spiritual ecosystem. Because fundamentally, that's what we need to understand. To understand a spiritual ecosystem, you need to understand your ecosystem. So, for those of you who will be following along, get to know your town. If you're looking for tips, that is the most important. Um, yeah, that is all I have for this installment of the Twilight Network. We'll look at wrapping up shortly, but if you're in chat and you have any questions or anything to that you want to bring up, feel free. Um, yeah. Oh, importantly, all uh, all extra language that is used here in Werewolf the Forsaken and what we'll be using through here is all made at um, on uh, is all done with the aid of the First Tongue project and the First Tongue dictionary, which I will attempt to find and link on my Twitter at Rampant Wombat. The First Tongue project is an amazing project, and the First Tongue dictionary is just brilliant if you want to bring that little element of werewolf into your game and into the way you've done things. Now, it is based on first editions. The key writer, Silka Alkis, um, last updated the First Tongue project in 2016 and the dictionary in 2018. Silka Alkis is the one who did all of this, and I don't know if they'll ever see, but really big shout out to them for this and for the help they've been without them knowing it. They are just, this project is just brilliant. Um, yeah. So if you want to check out that project, um, jump onto Twitter, go to @rampantwombat. I'll also link it on Instagram, so which is @rampantwombat. You'll be able to find it there. Yeah, so thanks very much, and I hope you enjoy your day. And remember, you must hunt as the wolf must.